What's up, Yarny Box Crocheters? Today we're going to be learning how to make the Cove Crop top. If you don't already have your Cove Crop top kit, go to yarnybox.com and pick up yours today. Don't forget to sign up with your email for free because we send out a free pattern every 2 weeks. This top is worked into 2 sections, so we're going to make each cup first and then we're going to crochet them together and then continue on to the bottom. The bottom has a really deliciously squishy texture and it's really pretty and it's a really simple stitch. The back is a corset lace-up, so it's very adjustable to different body shapes. And I'm going to show you how to do all that in this tutorial. And now we're going to measure the distance between the middle of your breast and the bottom. For most people that's about 3 inches, but that totally depends on your body type. So the first step that we're going to do is to make a chain, and that chain is going to be the length between your nipple and the bottom of your breast. Throughout this video I'm going to be making a chain of 15 stitches initially, but if that's not what it takes to get the distance between the middle and the bottom of your breast, that's totally fine. Just do however many chains it takes you to reach that measurement. This top is completely customizable and it's not going to affect the pattern at all, so just make sure your initial chain that we're about to do is that measurement. The first thing we're going to do is make a slip knot. So if you don't already know how to do that, you can grab your piece of yarn, hold it with one hand, and then kind of use your fingers to twist the yarn around by making a hole like this. And then grab the piece of working yarn and pull it through like that. And don't worry, there's another way, so if you didn't catch that, you can try this way, which is laying the yarn on the table, take the tail end and fold it over. And that's going to create a loop. And now take that loop and fold it over itself. And fold it back onto the working yarn. And then you're going to grab that middle piece of yarn and pull it taut. And that's going to create a slip knot. Now that you have your slip knot, tighten it to your hook, but don't make it too tight. You want to keep it pretty loose. So as you can see here, there is quite a big gap between my knot and my hook. That's because you want to keep your tension nice and loose while doing this step. And now you can decide how you want to hold your crochet hook. So this is called a knife hold, and this would be a pencil hold. I personally find the pencil hold a little bit easier, but you can decide for yourself which way you like to hold your hook. As you can see here, this is the tail. It's the part of the yarn that is not attached to the ball, so you can just put that aside. And then grab the working yarn, which is the yarn that is attached to the ball. And I like to wrap my working yarn around my index finger while kind of clamping the rest of it with my hand. And now we're going to do this next step very loosely, so do not have tight tension while doing this. We're going to wrap the hook around the yarn and pull it through that loop that's on our hook. Make sure your hook is pointing downwards for this, or else you're not going to be able to get that yarn through the hole. So make sure your hook is pointing down, make sure your tension is nice and loose, and pull the yarn through the hole. And now do that one more time. And again. So this is called a chain. It's just yarning over and pulling the yarn through the loop that's on your hook. And remember to keep your tension loose. We want to be very, very loose here. So for me, this is going to be an initial chain of 15 stitches. But just make sure that this chain ends up being the measurement that we took. That's between the nipple and the bottom of your breast. So now that we have the chain, I'm going to show you how to count the stitches. Each of these stitches looks like a V. So here I'm showing you that's one stitch, that's another, and another. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches. And now this is one loop, this is another loop. And if you turn your chain over, there's little nubs on the back. That's considered the third loop of each chain. So that's where we're going to be working in this project, is on the back side of the chain into those little nubs. That's why we had to have super loose tension, because it can be difficult to pop your hook into each one of those little nubs. So if your chain is too tight, that's okay, just undo it and redo it. So here I'm pointing to where you would normally put your hook, but in this project we're going to be doing it in the back side. Here you can see there's a loop on your hook, and then there is a stitch right under there. We're going into the next stitch, so that is the second nub down from your hook. Insert your hook into that nub, yarn over, and pull through. And now yarn over again, and pull through. This is called a single crochet. So that's one stitch, and you can see there's another V on top of the hook now. So that was the stitch we just made. So now go into the next nub, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through. Yarn over again and pull through. Now there's another V on the other side. So that's 2 stitches that we've done. And then we're going in the next one. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, and pull through. So each of these is a single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. That's another single crochet. So in each of the loops on the back side of the chain, we're going to be placing 1 single crochet. So once you get to the last stitch here, as you can see, it's right where the slip knot was. Just stop for a second, and I'm going to show you what each stitch looks like. So as you can see, each of these single crochets that we made a little V on the top of the chain. Those are going to be the stitches that we work into in the next round. And so now you can put your hook back on and insert your hook into the very last chain stitch. And we're going to place 3 single crochets into this stitch. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, pull through, and then go into the exact same hole and make another single crochet. And now we're going to mark that stitch. So grab your stitch marker and mark that stitch that we just made. You can just pop your stitch marker in, it works like a safety pin. And now make 1 more single crochet in the exact same hole that we just went into. And that is called an increase. And we're going to be doing this at the middle of every single row. So now we're going on to the other side of the chain. So we're kind of making like a rainbow shape here. So to find the next stitch, make sure it is the stitch that's beside the big hole that we just made by increasing into it. So that's the hole that we just went into, and then that is the next stitch available. Poke your hook under, and it's a little bit different than working into the chain stitch. You're going to have 2 new loops on your hook here. So put the entire V on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through, yarn over again and pull through. And this is a normal single crochet. So just go down the entire chain, placing 1 single crochet in each of these stitches. And I will meet you back once we're at the end of the chain. Okay, so I'm on my last stitch here. So insert your hook and make a single crochet. And that is the first row of the project completed. Now to make the rest of the cup, all we're going to be doing is going back and forth to make this U shape. And each time you make the U shape, the cup is going to get larger, both wider and taller. And just do that as many times as you need to get the correct coverage that covers your own chest. So here I'm showing you, these are the stitches we're going to be working in the next round. So now we can insert our hook again, and we're going to chain one, which is yarning over and pulling through the loop on your hook. That's called a chain one. And then turn your work. And now we're going to crochet in each stitch around the loop. So insert your hook into the very next stitch. The chain one does not count as a stitch. So the very first available hole that you see, that's where you put your hook. And then in the next stitch, make another single crochet and just keep single crocheting in each stitch. And when we get back to the stitch marker, I'm going to show you how to make another increase for the next round. But for now, it's just one single crochet per stitch. So here is the last stitch before the stitch marker. So now we can take out the stitch marker. This stitch here is where we're going to be placing 3 single crochets into the same stitch. So remove the stitch marker, and then we're going to place 1 single crochet in that stitch, a second single crochet in the same stitch, and pause to mark that stitch. You're going to mark this stitch at every single row that you do on the cup. And now we're going to place a third single crochet in that stitch. And now you can carry on for the rest of the row, making 1 single crochet in each stitch along. So we're coming up onto the end of the row. This is the last stitch here. And then for the next row, we're going to turn our work and go in the exact same direction that we just came from. So chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're going into the next stitch and single crochet your way along the row until you get back to the stitch marker. So now that we're back at the stitch marker, you can take it out. And again, we're placing 3 single crochets in that stitch, and we are stitch marking the second single crochet that we make. So this is 1, 2, mark this stitch, and 3. And then you can carry on the rest of the way down the row, making 1 single crochet in each stitch. Okay, now that we're done this row, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work and then do the exact same thing we just did. So single crochet your way along, and then once you get to the stitch marker, make 3 stitches in the same stitch and mark the second one that you did. And just keep doing this over and over again until your cup is a big enough triangle that it covers the amount that you want. Here I'm showing you that is the middle of the cup, and as you keep making stitches along, it's going to make it wider. In your Yarny Box kit, I have a loose size guide of how many inches wide your cup should be depending on your size. So for example, an extra small is between 5 and 5.5 inches. This totally depends on your body type and how much coverage you want, so just keep working these stitches across until your cup is as wide as you'd like. So in this video, I made an extra small size and it measures 5.5 inches. But just hold up the cup to your own body and make sure it's the right size for you. So now that it's the right size, you can cut off the piece of yarn. And we're going to do something called fastening off, which is just taking the yarn and pulling it through. Just like so. So now you're going to do this process all over again and make a second cup that's identical to your first cup. In part 2, I'm going to show you how to attach the 2 cups together and what the next step is going to be. See you there!